Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
This what I tell 'em. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. Hot or cold, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with an amazing session. So get ready. First off, I just had to start off with the one. I had to give them a warning, y'all. But with this amazing session, I have two captains with me, and this is a leadership session series with the captains, Captain Lakyra Pharms and Captain Olaolu Ogunyemi, and man, great people are doing great things. And really, for me, I just wanted to highlight them and the amazing things that they have going on. We're going to dive deep into what they do, some other things about leadership throughout the series, but this will be our first part of our series. And today is just about the captains. So first, I just want to say thank you all for taking the time to do this with me, to rock with me on this.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
All right. Well, let's just start out with intros. Captain Pharms, and let's start with you, ladies first.
All right.
If you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and just discuss what you do.
All right. Well, yeah, my name is Lakyra Pharms, Captain, United States Marine Corps. I'm a communications officer. I'm originally from Gary, Indiana. Born in Gary, pretty much raised in South Bend. Shout out to the Bend. And went to school at Indiana University. And while I was in school at Indiana University, I was enlisted in the reserves. And so I did some enlisted reserve time. And as soon as I could put in the package for the enlisted commissioning program, I went ahead and did that. Upon graduation, commissioned, and was able to see what the active duty life was about. And I've been stuck ever since, pretty much enjoying this. So I know right now I am currently serving as the headquarters company commander in headquarters battalion, 1st Marine Division. And it's been a wild ride, but that's a brief overview for now.
Okay, awesome. Captain Ogunyemi, how about you?
Hey, all right. Captain Ogunyemi, United States Marine Corps, hoorah. Just very excited to be here today, if you can't tell. So originally from Ruston, Louisiana, grew up 5th of 6 children, got a degree from Grambling State University, shout out to GSU, in computer information systems. From there, I went to Tyson, worked as a computer programmer analyst, then went active duty in the Marine Corps. From there, bounced to Miramar, did some time there as a platoon commander and an operations officer. Then bounced up to MCRD San Diego and had a fun time there with some great Marines. And now I'm an operations officer at the Marine Logistics Group. Beautiful wife, 3 children. I thank God for her every day. Just make sure I got that on the record.
Yes, we're recording.
Yeah,
we got to
make
record.
Sure that's on the record.
We got it.
Perfect. Anyway, beautiful wife, 3 children. And recently just published my first children's book. So I'm excited to, I've been excited in the last couple of weeks just to share that information. I'll do like Lakyra did. That'll be it for right now.
Awesome, Cap. Well, as you guys can see, just like I said, great people. And what I want to do now is, I know you guys talked about, where you're from. You kind of, briefly talked about your career path a little bit. But if you don't mind, Captain Pharms, just kind of I'll give you guys each an opportunity just to go a little bit in depth of what it is you do currently.
Okay. Yeah, like I stated before, currently I'm the headquarters company commander in headquarters battalion, 1st Marine Division. So pretty much I have a company of about 700 Marines, and I own like all the division G shops. So a lot of the admin, the intel shops. It's a lot of shops with Marines who outrank me, which is a weird structure. But I pretty much make sure like all of these sections, all the Marines in those sections are administratively and have their administratively squared away, medical and dental readiness is squared away. And so it's kind of just like, it's mostly a administrative heavy billet. And on the flip side, it also has a tactical side. So whenever the headquarters battalion has to deploy in support of the division, I have to play the role of the camp commandant. And so with that, I just make sure that whatever facilities and whatever area we're working out of, I'm in charge of just getting all the Marines to set that up. And so like right now we're practicing that. And wherever we set up at, if we have to put up tents, have whatever, logistical support they need, administrative support, all the Marines in my company are pretty much the back end for that. So we just set up the facilities for the division CG to be able to command and control the troops in the division. So that's pretty much my role as the headquarters company commander, is rallying all the troops and making sure everything's set up. So that's what I'm doing right now. And yeah.
All right, rallying the troops. Okay,
that's a nice way to put it.
There you go, love it. Captain Ogunyemi, what about you?
You should have let me go first, man. She just had to one up me. So really, so I'm also a communications officer. I forgot to mention that earlier. And really what I do as a G6 operations officer at the Marine Logistics Group is I'm responsible for providing plans and resources to the units that fall under the MLG. So my job is to just coordinate with hire to ensure they have the plans, to ensure they have the assets and all the things that they need to be successful for people like Captain Pharms. They're out in the field, doing their thing and just really hooking and jabbing, as we say. So my job is less field ready, although every once in a while we like to hop out there. But more so the one behind trying to ensure that they have everything they need to go out to the field, at least in my current job. So like she mentioned, I have a very small shop. I don't have 700. I have closer to 7, more like 17. Anyway, I have about 17 I have to keep up with. Usually all those guys are more senior, and they're the, as we call them, the subject matter experts that are really the brains behind the operations. I'm just the guy that just calls all the meetings and brings all the people to the room and let all the smart people do the planning. So that's my job as operations officer, and I'm sticking to it.
Hooking and jabbing. Bam! There it is. Well, first, before we go on, I want to make sure that I say thank you to you two. Thank you so much for your service, your dedication, the things that you have done to put you in the place where you are. And there's a few layers to that thank you. I think the first is, like I said, for your service and the sacrifices that your family has made to allow you to be there to do the things that you do for our country. I think the other layer for me is, man, it's so cool that you are doing your thing. Like man, like that's crazy. Like that's what y'all do, man. That's crazy. So it blows me away to, I don't know, just to know you guys first off, and then know, that you're doing the thing that you're doing. So thank you for that. Thank you for your service. And I just encourage y'all to just keep doing your thing, how you're doing it, because it's so inspiring. I wanted to make sure that I take time to say that. So let's go into, I know you talked about, your exact jobs. Let's go into a couple of career highlights, so, hold on. Let me tell this little secret first before we go on. Sorry, guys. But so I'll share this secret. So when we were setting up this series, right, I reached out to Captain Ogunyemi and, connected me with, Captain Pharms, and, each of them were like, hey, well, I'll just, let her do her thing and I'll just listen and take notes. Then she was like, oh, I'll just let him do his thing and I'll just listen and take notes. Right. So, and when we initially talked, their talking was not about them. They were talking more of my people. I got to take care of my people, make sure that they're good. And that's what we need in everything that we have, is just people that are selfless, of people that just want to take care of their people. And I commend you guys for that. So I had to share that story first before we went on. Sorry, guys. But we'll go on. But just talk about a couple of career highlights, just some things, maybe a couple of things that were really neat for you in your career, that help you feel blessed to be where you are. And Captain Pharms, will start with you.
Yeah, it's really hard to pick a highlight because it's been a wild ride, some ups and downs. Yeah. But I know two particular duty stations that I had that I really got a lot out of. The first one, when I first went active duty, my first duty station was on Okinawa, Japan. And so that was my first time leaving the United States. And that being out there was absolutely amazing, because I know that was one of the reasons I wanted to go active duty, was to be able to travel. I wanted to be able to see something other than Indiana. Even my reserve unit was in southern Indiana, and it was crazy being there. So I wanted to travel, and getting a chance to go to Oki was absolutely amazing. One, I got the chance to finally be a platoon commander, which is like a big thing when you pin on and you commission. Like, it's always that moment that you get to stand in front of the Marines and be that person that's in charge, and finally be in a position to influence, the environment that the Marines are working in. So I freaking took advantage of that and had fun. And in my platoon, we turned into a family. We just all took care of each other, and I didn't walk in there, my chest all poked out, trying to figure out, what can I do to make a good name for myself. It was always like, what can I do to set up each and every one of these Marines for success? Like, is it a school I can send you to? Because I'm a communications officer as well. And so it's like, hey, what schools can I send y'all to make sure that, you guys are killing it in your MOS? I need y'all cross training so y'all can be able to do each other's job and make sure, so whatever I could do to set them up for success, that was awesome. So I had an awesome experience being a platoon commander and getting a lot out of my time. I was with 7th Com Battalion when I was out there, so shout out to the Com Battalion. and also just getting the opportunity to be overseas and experience the world from a different point of view. It kind of expanded. That was like the first time where my worldview really expanded, and to be able to travel to all these different countries in the Asian Pacific and to see so many places where there was like African influence, and it was eye-opening for me, because with the way that you're taught history growing up, you just kind of feel like you're just taught history different. And so to be somewhere where you can see that there's a lot more to the people that you come from than, hey, y'all was here, then you were slaves, and then there was civil rights, and then there was President Obama. There's a whole lot more to the story. And being overseas and seeing that reflected in all these different cultures and all these different places where you weren't even taught that your people had a hand in, it was really eye-opening. So I enjoyed being able to go overseas. So that was definitely a blessing. And the second duty station where I had a lot of fun, which it's crazy whenever I explain it to people, but being out in Paris Island, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Island, serving as a series commander, I had a ball out there. It was definitely a tasking job. It was a lot of duty, a lot of late nights, just a lot of just living at work and not being at home, and even knowing what my home looks like in the daytime. But just being out there in a position to take care of those drill instructors, because the enlisted Marines that go out there to be drill instructors, they are working, the billet that they're working in to transform these Marines from, transforming these recruits into Marines. They put their heart and soul into it. And it's a heavy task to put on someone, and you have to have someone there that's kind of watching them to make sure they don't go overboard, because they get overly passionate about what they're doing. And if you give someone that much power, it's bound to go too far if you don't have someone there to show them what their left and right lateral limits are. And being there as a series commander, and to just be able to make sure that, training is happening, Marines are being made, but Marines are also leaving with their career still intact, because, they were able to, someone was able to pull them back whenever they were seeing red, and make sure that they can that, you know, giving them a gentle reminder, like, I know these are recruits and I know they messed up and you want them to be perfect, but this is somebody's child and all they want to do at the end of the day is become what you are. So keep that in mind and don't get lost in their recruits and you have to like constantly be, you know, at them. Keep in mind that this is somebody's child and they're just trying to accomplish a goal. And so let's get them to that point. And I had a lot of fun out there. And so, yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights for me, being out there. And I don't want to take up all the time from, but yeah, like I said, it's hard to pick a highlight, but definitely those 2 duty stations were the ones that stand out for me.
Awesome. Good deal. Good deal. Well, Captain Ogunyemi.
Hey, I'm right there with you. It is hard. It is really hard to try to pick out like highlights because I took a long time thinking about that, and you just made me adjust my notes anyway. So, and we share a couple of good highlights, but you know what? I think my highlight started literally like the day I commissioned, or I guess even before that. So, I was on a leadership panel with a real short story, a leadership panel down in New Orleans, and I met this. I think I had just finished officer candidate school. And I happen to have on my suit and tie, probably oversized, you know, something cheap. But I'm on a leadership panel and I have no idea. I think I was there because I did community service or something like that. And I was on there with somebody from NAACP. I remember being on there with Tamia Gordon, who was like one of the youngest African-American female judges in the New Orleans area. And and then there's another person there. His name was General Ronald Bailey, now retired. And all these people are sitting there, and I look down the line, and everybody's asking them questions, and nobody's asking me any questions. So finally, somebody asked me something easy. What's your name? And I stumbled over my name, and then finally, I was like, all right, I'm gonna move on. But that interaction I had, the first thing that was eye opener for me was when General Bailey came up to me after, and he was like, hey, you know what? Here's my card. I want you to keep up with me. You know, just keep me updated on what's going on and all this kind of stuff. And at the time, I didn't even appreciate it. To be honest with you, I got it, and I sent him a few emails, and I told him, hey, I'm a graduating commission from Grambling State. It's been a while since anybody's done that. You know, he was like, well, if you invite me as your commissioning officer, I'll come. You know, again, at the time, I still don't know the gravity of that situation. A general officer coming to a little Grambling State University to commission me, right? And then I just remember, like, I sent him an email with the invitation that it was a nice looking invitation, but I attached it to the email and sent it to him. And he rogered up. He said he's going to come. And next thing you know, I get a call and they're like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I sent the general email. He said invite him. So I sent him an invitation. And long story short, you know, we get to graduation and no crap, this guy is here. And it wasn't until later on I realized that, man, that's a big deal. You know, just the humility that he had to say, hey, you know what? I don't even know this guy. He's some college kid. He happened to be in my fraternity, Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. But he's some college kid that, you know what? I'm going to look out for this guy. He's coming to my organization. So I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach down to him and I'm going to show up at his graduation and I'm going to commission him and I'm going to pass on that torch on to him. And like I said, now retired, but I mean, a well-decorated Marine. And I look back in that moment like, wow, man, if he has so much humility to come talk to me before I was even a lieutenant, which Captain Pharms will tell you, a second lieutenant is, I don't know. Yeah, never mind. It's a public show. I won't even I'll keep that internal. But a second lieutenant, let's just say, hey, that's when you first get in. You got to earn your stripes, right? So I just remember that. I mean, I was like, man, that's amazing, man. And every time I sent him an email, even as a lieutenant, I didn't even know how to address a general still. You know, I'm sending emails from my Gmail account, and he's still responding to me from his BlackBerry and stuff like that. So it was that kind of humility that just was like, man, that is amazing. That is the kind of guy I want to be. And every time I bring him up, somebody else says, oh, yeah, I know General Bailey. I knew him when he was a colonel. Hey, that guy, yep, all day. Yeah. And that's my thing. I was like, man, that's the kind of leader I want to be. So that's the first highlight of my career thus far. And then secondly is in general, promotions, awards, and all those kind of things. But specifically my first time promoting a Marine, and we took off the rank, and we rehearsed it. You know, we have staff non-commissioned officers like Captain Pharms talked about earlier. When you're a brand new lieutenant, they're your bread and butter. They have the experience. They're going to train you up and make sure that you're not messing stuff up. So when you're standing in front of 60, 70 people, you don't punt it in the stands, you know? So it's cool to have that person. So this guy, he walked me through it over. We had to do it like 10 times. And I just remember standing there like, okay, this is the time. And I remember like looking that Marine in the eyes, and he starts getting emotional because he's like, yeah, I'm about to pin on. You know, just knowing his backstory and knowing that, you know, he came from somewhere where maybe he was told that he would never achieve anything. So it was just cool to see that, you know, like, man, this, you know, I'm a part of history for this guy. You know, nobody else from his hometown, nobody else in his family may not have not done anything, but you know what, he's getting promoted or she's getting an award and all these kind of things. And to me, that's a big deal, you know. So I'll stop there. But those two things, you know, whether it's awarding or promoting Marines or just having the opportunity, the honor to meet General Bailey and learn from his leadership style, man, that to me, that's amazing. A highlight from my career.
Good stuff. Well, and like I said to you, audience, you know, great people. You know, they did kind of mention something that they accomplished, but then they're more so mention something accomplishments of somebody else, right? And that's the kind of people they are, which is why they do what they do. And again, so thankful for your service and thankful for how you do what you do. It's good stuff. So the next phase, you know, we've discussed, you know, where you're from. We've discussed, you know, your journeys, your career path. We've discussed, you know, a couple of highlights, and, you know, based on your title and where you are, you know, you're leaders, you know, and I'm gonna say amazing leaders, and I'll just say that. Thank you, guys. You know, amazing leaders, right? But you know, leadership is not a thing that is, well, let me go back. Effective leadership is not just something that is just given. Like, you have to earn that. You have to show the people that you're around that you care about what they do, putting others before you, which apparently you guys do often. But you know, effective leadership, I think it makes an impact in our world. You know, it influences so many. It allows us to not just leave a legacy, but it allows us to live a legacy by our day-to-day actions. And so that's kind of where I want to go. I want to go into leadership. You know, what does leadership mean to you? And Captain Pharms, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So anytime I think of like a leader, just like in general with leadership, I think one thing I go by is making sure that I'm always a servant leader. And that's something that is surprising to me, is rare in this organization. I see a lot of people who are, you know, I don't necessarily want to say everyone's in it for themselves, but you can tell when someone's trying to chase an award or just trying to do something to get an impression out of the people around them. And that's not our role. Like, that's not how you build an effective organization. Like, you have to make sure that if you're in that leadership role, that you're being more of a servant. And that's not saying that you're letting people run over you or anything like that, but it's saying that you're doing what you can to make sure you're rising up your team. And it doesn't only fall on one person. Like, if you allow people you give people the space to be able to grow and to be able to learn. You know, they give them the space to make mistakes, because people learn quick from mistakes. And if you create an environment where people cannot make mistakes, then they're just trying to do whatever they can to keep you happy until the next person comes in that seat. And the thing is, you want to make sure that you're always giving, like, your Marines or whoever it is that you're in charge of, the tools that they need to be successful. So just being a servant leader and just legitimately looking out for the well-being of the people who are working for you. And that's something that's been, you know, because when you're in the unit where that's absent, it's you know, you just have people working the day to day, and they're just going through the motions. But if you're doing what you can to look out for your Marines, they go above and beyond to make sure that the mission is met. And and I just think of one example because I know last year we executed an exercise. It's called Still Night, and we always go through these exercises every year where the division kind of just practices what they would do if they had to go into combat or something. So we just do like a practice of it, and so going into that, in my role as the camp commandant, and I have to set up the spaces for the division staff to work out of. Usually, I would have a senior enlisted member attached to me as an assistant to help me with everything that's going on out there. We were pretty short staffed in the company at the time, and so there's a sergeant that works in my shop, and it was a sergeant who had previously gotten in trouble. And so, a lot of times in my company office, I end up with the Marines who other sections, if they get in trouble or something, they may send them to me while they're trying to figure things out or whatever, and until they find out where they want to put someone. And so I get this sergeant. So he's an E5. So junior enlisted, but still a non-commissioned officer. And I grabbed the sergeant and I was like, you know what? Because he had been proving himself, in the company office. And I was like, you know what, I'll have you be my assistant camp commandant. And so I can remember a lot of people were giving me slack because they're like, how are you going to go out there and get all this done with a sergeant? And I'm like, it's not that he's a sergeant. It's that I know that he's effective at what he does. And it doesn't matter. Like, I understand people hang on to rank and they're thinking like, you only need a staff NCO to do this. But I'm like, every single Marine that we have, regardless of the rank that they have on their collar, they bring something valuable to this organization. And we need more people in leadership roles to see that the people lower in rank have something of value to bring to it. And so that was just an opportunity for me to be able to show like, well, I'm gonna come out here with this sergeant and I'm gonna kill this. Like, we're gonna kill this exercise and I'm gonna do it with this E5 right here. And that was something that motivated some of the other NCOs around, because, some of them were told, they just kind of walk around with this, I'm just an NCO or I'm just a corporal, I'm just a sergeant type of attitude. But I'm like, no, you're not just that. Like, you have good ideas, like voice those ideas, let people know the things you're thinking, because we could be doing something like completely inefficient and you might have the next best idea in your head, but because no one's listening to you because what's on your collar, we would never know. So that was kind of like letting them know like, hey, I'm listening to you guys. Like, what do you have to bring to the table? Because as you can see, we went out here and I had a sergeant with me and 2 corporals, and like, we were making things happen and I didn't have to have, and it's not to say that I wouldn't have been able to do the same thing with a gunnery sergeant or a master guns or whoever would have been attached to me. But it's just to say that to just kind of highlight like the lower members in the chain of command, like they have value to bring to the organization as well. So that's kind of what I mean with just giving them the space to be able to shine, and understanding that it's not only about what you can bring. Because I could have went out there and made everything happen myself, but I want to show how effective this person is. And so giving them an opportunity to do something and show that they're awesome, so they can move up and be given those roses instead of it just falling on me or whoever else is more senior. So that's all. That's just big to me. Servant leadership, like, we gotta have that. You gotta have somebody who's looking out for others, and if you do that by default, like, there's gonna be some level of success, without a doubt.
Oh, no doubt about it. I think opportunities bring opportunities. Just like you said, man, give him an opportunity to do his thing. He's proven to me. He's shown me that he's ready. Like, let's go. And then also, I think the quality of the work you get too is amazing, because they believe in me. I can't let them down. Yep. And so thanks for sharing that. So Captain Ogunyemi, what about you? What does leadership mean to you?
Yes, sir. So I've already alluded to it a little bit earlier when I talked about General Bailey. The first thing that pops in my head is just humility, right? So being able to just be that person that you would want everybody to look up to. Again, I gave the story about General Bailey. That's one reason I'm still in the Marine Corps to this day. I mean, because what better welcome is there to just have somebody reach out to you and say, hey, man, hey, listen, I'm just another guy. I'm a grown man. I'm a grown woman. Hey, I'm going to bring you into the fold. Like, you are a part of my organization now. You're a part of the gun club. Hey, you and I, hey, we're brothers now. We're sisters now. And that's the kind of humility that you have to have as a leader to bring those troops or bring those people that you lead into the fold. That's the first and foremost thing for me. And then secondly, I always tell people, hey, just be you, right? Because to me, it's like for me, I'm a goofy guy. I know it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. I have a little neck and a big head, and it really shows on this camera, right? But that's just me.
Get out of here.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to lean back so it can sort of blend a little
No.
bit with the wall, man. But golly, I keep looking at it. But anyway, yeah. So I'm just like, that's just how I look at it. Like, be who you are. Like, because people can tell the difference. People know that, you know, when you're trying to be somebody else, or it's easy to do, especially in our kind of organization where you have that type A personality where it's like, hey, you know, in order to get something done, you know, I'm going to yell and scream at you. And I've even tried that. And I realized, you know what? It's just not my thing. It's not my style. You know, if you see me yelling at somebody, you know, they actually, hey, they messed up. They messed up royally. Either A, they really, really messed up, or B, like I had the problem that day. I had a bad temper. I had a bad day, or something was going on, and I allowed myself to get to that point, or a combination of both. So just being who you are, and to me, I think people just appreciate that. Sometimes like Captain Pharms alluded to, sometimes it may seem that, oh, you're gonna let people run you over, or you're just trying to be friendly and all that kind of stuff. And in reality, no, you're just leading, right? And if who you are as a friendly person, you love people like I do, then just be that person, right? You don't have to try to fake. You don't try to put on, because they're going to see right through it, and that's just the bottom line. They're going to see right through it. And then lastly, I stole a quote from Donnie Smith when I worked at Tyson. He's the CEO of Tyson at the time, and he always, like, he'll pull everybody in the room. I mean, executive leadership. He'll pull in all the way to like the little bitty intern that, as I was an intern. In 2011 or 2012, somewhere around there. And I just remember walking in there and sitting in the room and looking around like, man, I saw that person. Their salaries online. Golly, man, they have me in here, and I'm making like, you know, I mean, probably their sock change they have in their in their glove compartment. But for me, I was like, you know what? This is pretty cool, because he'll say the answers in the room, and he'll stand people up, and he'll say, hey, you know what? That's a great idea. People will talk about the money they saved with the company, and with Tyson, a multi-billion-dollar company, Fortune 500 company, they'll say, hey, I saved $10,000 this year by switching from this type of paper towel to this type of paper towel. And he will celebrate them like they just saved the company several $billion, right? And to me, that does exactly what Captain Pharms was alluding to earlier. It's empowering them and making them believe in themselves and making them believe in you. I believed in him because, you know, when I walked by him in the hallway, I felt like I had a voice. Like when I talked to him, I spoke to him in the hallway. He was like, hey, Lou, how you doing? I mean, I had a name tag on too, but in my mind, he memorized my name. Hey, Lou, how's it going? But what was impressive though is he had this thing where he would memorize what project you were working on. And granted, you know, maybe 2 weeks later, sort of passed by, but I always thought about that. It's like, man, you know what? The CEO, you know, he came up to me, he talked about a project. Yeah, we finished that 2 weeks ago, but it's still cool that, you know, I feel like I have a voice. I have a platform with him. If I have an issue and I see him in the hallway, maybe I could bring it up to this guy. You know, I don't know what he'll do with it. Maybe he'll do something with it, or maybe he won't. So just giving them a voice, making them believe in themselves, being yourself. And then again, like I said, just that humility, that goes a long way in leadership.
Love it. Love it. Great stories, great words about both of you guys, servant leadership, humility, all of those things take effort, right? And I think to me, effort counts, right? So like if I have somebody that's a leader that's giving effort, man, I'm doing everything I can to make that person look great, and that's what it's about. And so when you take the time to be a servant leader, or when you take the time to have humility and, put people in the right place, to have them empowered and then encourage them along the journey. Oh man, that takes effort, but the effort is so worth it to see, just like you alluded to, Captain Ogunyemi, just like I know their backstory, I see them like I'm like the parent happy for them, like, doing their thing, and so that's what it's about. So as we close, again, I just want to say thank you guys so much for sharing in this session 1 of our leadership series. And I'm titling this one About the Captains, because I really just wanted the audience to get to know who you are, what you're about, kind of dive a little bit into leadership, which is what the series will be about. And then we'll go a little bit deeper on the rest of the session. But I think that this was great. Again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for what you do, and keep doing your thing because it's so inspiring. Love it.
Absolutely, Chef. We appreciate it. I think I heard Kyle Carpenter say it. He said, "You're worth it." And so every time somebody says, "Thank you for my service," I think, you know, it sounds a little cheesy. I said it aloud to one of my Marines, and they told me I sound pretty corny, but it was one of those things that I realized is like, yeah, that to me, that's like, it means a lot, right? When you tell somebody, man, you know what? You're telling me thank you for the sacrifice and all that kind of stuff. And really, I believe that you're worth it. Not just the Constitution or some abstract thing that we believe in. Like literally, like you are worth it. Like all the people listening, you're worth it. Any sacrifice that I may or may not have made, I appreciate you all for supporting, and you're definitely worth it.
Love it.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity to just be able to speak to whoever it is that's listening. I hope y'all are able to get some nuggets from this. And yeah, just thank you for the support and thanks for the opportunity.
Well, kind of like Captain Ogunyemi said, when you say you're worth it, I'm going to just go the Chick-fil-A route and say, my pleasure. Like Chick-fil-A, my pleasure. Well, again, thank you. And thank you, audience, for checking out this session 1 of our leadership series. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.